I recently watched the Transformers 1 film, and despite the fact that the first trailer for the movie made it look like it was a family-friendly, non-serious road trip that had nothing of substance, this film is probably one of the best films to come out this year, and it's maybe in my top 3 favourite pieces of Transformers media of all time. It has a great score, lots of visceral and layered animation, full of little details that you need to re-watch several times to find everything, some terrific voice acting, action scenes that make full use of their ability to shapeshift their bodies, and a story that hasn't really been seen in a visual piece of media before. But one of the things that interested me the most is the psychology of some of the characters in this movie, and how these characters are described and their mentality is shows you just how these people were always destined to become the people they are when conflict is forced upon them. Firstly, we'll start with Sentinel. We learn that Sentinel used to be an advisor for the Primes, however that was all he could do in his current position, advise, with the Primes' heroics and nobility clashing with his own ideal version of leadership, one that just benefited him. And then when the war came along, all he saw was the Primes making heroic speeches while struggling to hold off the Quintesson invasion, fueling Sentinel's resentment as he believed that he could lead Cybertron in a way that would stop the war and give him the power and recognition he felt he deserved. And so he betrayed the Primes, sneak attacking them alongside the Quintessons and taking the ruling power for himself. However, despite his desire, Sentinel was no way in charge. His actions in the war revealed the sort of person he was. When push comes to shove, he will try and take any action that avoids him facing consequences, refusing to face the conflict on its own terms. He is narcissistic, entitled, power hungry, but also just cowardly, truly being unable to take on those stronger than himself and needing the help of the Quintessons to kill the Primes, and then being completely subservient to the Quintessons in the present day, taking his anger and bitterness out on those weaker than him as he is unable to fight those that are stronger. He's more than happy to attack the weakened Alpha Trion in D16, but once he becomes weakened during the final battle and unable to fight back against D16, he gets the fate that he deserved. Moving on, we have Orion Pax. Throughout the film, we see Orion as a cocky, rule-breaking loudmouth who is constantly causing trouble and defying those above him. However, he does this because, deep in his soul, he's tired of seeing his fellow Cybertronians being worked to their metal bones just to survive, and wishes for a better life for them. The first action we see is him breaking into the Hall of Records, and while he jokes around, causes some public damage and seems to enjoy the thrill of the chase, the reason he's there is to try and locate the Matrix of Leadership, the thing that will cause Cybertron to start spewing energon again so his fellow miners don't have to keep pushing themselves further into unstable mines just for the species to survive.
The sooner energon flows again, the sooner we won't have to mine for it. Don't you want to choose your own path, do whatever you want?
In the Iacon 5000, sure, he enjoys being able to compete against the T-Cog possessing Cybertronians, as well as humiliating Darkwing, but the main reason he does so is because he wants the rest of the miners to get some recognition for their work, especially with how dangerous said work is getting. And being able to compete against some T-Cog possessing Cybertronians and beating just one of them would show that they are just as good as they are.
It's time to show them we are more than meets the eye.
And throughout the race, even when given the chance to come in first, he refuses to leave D16 behind, showing he cares more about the well-being of the people around him than winning some artificial title. When the group locate the resting place of the Primes and encounter Alpha Trion, they are all shocked to learn about Sentinel's betrayal, what is being done with their energon, and the fact that they all had T-Cogs before they were stripped away, with Orion being more focused on what the group would do to help the citizens of Cybertron over punishing Sentinel. When captured by Starscream and the High Guard, Orion's main focus is trying to win them over to his cause, pleading for them to join him in revealing the truth to the citizens and uniting Cybertron against their true enemies, becoming shocked when D shows just how ruthless he is becoming in his fight with Starscream.
I beg you! Stop! D! He's not the enemy!
And despite momentarily losing hope when their evidence is destroyed, he's quick to jump back into the fight, leading the remaining High Guard to free the citizens of Iacon and their captured friends. Rallying the miners to help bring justice, he is quick to defeat Sentinel and his forces, rallying the rest of Iacon by revealing his deception to them. Despite the strain and consequences of Sentinel's actions, he also refuses to allow D to publicly execute him, believing that starting a new society with an execution would make them no better than the people they just took down, a belief he is ultimately willing to die for.
I have to do this! No, you don't. Rebuilding Iacon cannot begin with an execution.
It's for this reason that he is granted the title of Optimus Prime, embodying the goodness that all Cybertronians should aspire to, and despite Megatron having killed him and betrayed the justice they fought for, he still lets him and the High Guard go, showing mercy and trying to bring peace to the fully restored citizens of Iacon. Orion believed in a better future for all, and when under the direst of circumstances, he refused to let go of these beliefs, solidifying his just cause and lifting him up to become a Prime, showing how everyone should aspire to be, even in the most heartbreaking of conflicts. And then we have D16. D starts as a blind, obedient bot who doesn't like to break the rules, and while he is willing to help Orion when he can, he is quick to state that following protocol is the most important thing, believing that just shutting up and doing your job is the best way to get about in life, wishing for his life to be problem-free, and becoming annoyed when Orion's decisions to talk back to a superior and tricking him into the Iacon 5000 get him punched in the face and then thrown down into the worst sub-level possible. He also believes in the importance of the Primes, having a reverence for Megatronus, and is desperate for Sentinel's approval.
Sentinel Prime. The Sentinel Prime.
And then the group reaches the fallen Primes, and D is devastated that his idol is just dead on the ground, showing anger for the fallen hero. When Alpha Trion reveals Sentinel's betrayal, D refuses to believe it. After all, how could Sentinel do that to the other Primes? How could Sentinel do that to him? Upon seeing the secret deal that Sentinel has with the Quintessons, D is devastated. He's devastated for himself. He cannot believe how badly he has been betrayed, how his life was robbed, focusing more on the fantasies of killing Sentinel than on Orion's plan to free everyone else who was betrayed just as badly as he was.
Sentinel lied to my face.
During this time, he also begins to resent Orion, blaming him for shattering the perfect worldview that he had for not following the rules of society, despite the fact that it's a society built on falsehoods and betrayal. Upon gaining a T-Cog and becoming stronger and more powerful, D's first instinct with it is to fight, being shown as extremely gleeful and happy mere moments after killing one of Sentinel's goons. He also starts to lose interest in Orion as a friend, wanting to be the leader of their little group and explaining that he will never follow anyone again. After being captured by Starscream and the High Guard, D quickly loses interest and respect for the group, believing they're just a band of cowards that refuse to do something to properly hurt Sentinel, quickly beating Starscream to a pulp to show his power and rallying the High Guard to his cause. After being captured and brought before Sentinel, D refuses to back down from fighting him, killing him being the only thing that would give his life purpose anymore. Not freeing Iacon, not rescuing his fellow captives, just killing Sentinel, a sentiment that is only further fueled by his torture under the Prime. When Orion finds him and tries to explain his plan to free the citizens and bring down Sentinel's regime, D doesn't even give it a second of notice, refusing to help with the plan and just focusing on attacking Sentinel, despite being severely outmatched in a straight fight. When told that everyone in Iacon knows what is going on now and that Sentinel is essentially powerless, all D cares about is that his life was robbed, and that Sentinel needed to die for that, caring little about how to start a new society, and even being willing to abandon his best friend to die for refusing to allow him to execute Sentinel, brutally tearing apart the fallen leader before demanding that everything in Iacon be destroyed, as it was built in Sentinel's image, regardless of the effect it would have on the cogless citizens that cannot flee from the carnage.
It's over, D. Everyone in Iacon knows the truth.
So do I!
D16, now Megatron, is shocked and confused when his old friend shows up as Optimus Prime. After all, how could he be given the Matrix when Megatron was the one who killed Sentinel? Because in his mind, that's all that matters. He stopped Sentinel. He was tearing down the false city that is Iacon. Why shouldn't he be the one to wield the Matrix? And this, combined with his earlier statement about refusing to let anyone else lead him, makes Megatron attack his best friend without hesitation, blaming everything on Optimus and refusing to take any responsibility on why he's being exiled and why he wasn't given the Matrix, vowing to become his old friend's worst enemy. Megatron refused to try and think for himself in any serious degree, instead choosing to focus on rules and blind obedience to those above him. As such, when his entire worldview was shown as a lie and he was forced to fight, all he could focus on was how he was affected, how he was due justice, and how he would pick a path that would give him some sort of personal satisfaction, ultimately choosing to be just as selfish and self-fulfilling as Sentinel was, using his pain and suffering to justify the pain and suffering of others to complete his goal.
We could have built the future together.
I'll build it myself after I tear down everyone in my way!
Ultimately, Transformers 1 is a terrific film with some amazing character work, with the film giving us an excellent demonstration on how different individuals show their true selves when faced with conflict. And honestly, I really hope this film gets a sequel, because I cannot wait to see how these writers handle other characters and themes in such a well-crafted world. Thanks for watching, lads and lasses. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing and checking out some of my other videos. Sharing always helps, and if you're feeling really generous, please consider my Patreon or YouTube membership. I also have a Twitter and occasionally I do live streams. But most of all, I just hope you had a great day, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.